Welcome to Energy Unleashed, here where we talk about anything and everything with people in their midlife who are just killing it in everything they're doing in their journey in life. I'm excited to chat with somebody amazing here today, somebody similar to I in her 40s, but she's just killing it in her journey. She's a mom, a wife, mompreneur, 4 times business owner, 7-figure, and just doing it, and there's more to come. Libby Garcia-DeLucien. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yes.
Happy to be here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I wanted to have somebody like you on to chat just for others like myself going through, a journey where I'm in my midlife stage and looking to start my own business, which I've started, but you have so much experience from the ground up doing your thing. And really, we're here because it helps me and it helps someone out there as well. If you could just share with us, what was that inspired action that just kicked you off to saying, no, I want to do this, and started your own business, and you just boomed from there. So I'd like to just hear from you what inspired you to take that.
It's probably going to be, that desperation when our back is up against the wall. That's when most people innovate and kind of get those creative juices flowing. Every entrepreneur that I'm friends with, every successful person I know, almost did it out of survival. I've always been from business. My family owns, they are business owners. In my 20s, I owned a bar and restaurant. And the current journey, so I own a residential cleaning, professional organizing business, 2 softwares, coaching business, and writing a book. And it all started out of desperation. I was going through a horrible separation, and I needed to be able to control my time. It was stressful. My past job was being used against me. So I first started in organizing. It was a very low startup. I've always been super organized. And I started there, and then we added cleaning, and it's just kind of exploded from there. So a lot of people ask me, they're like, oh, so somebody asked me today, what do you do? I clean toilets for a living.
Yeah.
To try to downplay it a little bit.
And so let me ask you from there. So that's where you started basically as your first, your past career, say, you were going through some challenges in life, and it was something in you, right? Like an inspired action that said, I'm great at this. So I want to start my own business. And because I know one of your gifts is just, my gosh, you can organize and get things like just at the step of a finger so well. And what kind of, I guess, pushed you? I know out of desperation, but basically, was it like belief in yourself, or how was your mindset at that time, if you can remember? Because where it is now is completely successful. Did you ever picture yourself, back then, that you would be here so successful with that business?
No, I think, first, for everybody who's listening, we don't start from zero. When we restart, we start from experience. So if you're midlife and if you're thinking of making a change, or if you're going through a horrible divorce or separation, or if you're scared you're going to get left out to dry, you're not starting from zero, you're starting from experience. And that can get us a lot farther than most things. So I started from experience, but the thing that I'll be honest, I didn't really believe that anyone would pay me to organize their house. I did not. It's actually my current husband now, who talked me into it, because I said, no one's going to pay me to organize. And he's like, yeah, people pay other people to mow their lawns, do their taxes, clean their house. And we weren't doing cleaning at the time.
Right.
And I kind of thought about it. I was like, huh. And the more and more I learned, so what gave me the passion really is the learning. I think that when you learn about something so deeply and you master it, you develop this passion about it. Because it removes all fear and kind of the unknown when you've learned so much about it. And then that fear is kind of gone, and fear causes that um, procrastination or paralyzed, what is it? It's like paralysis of, I don't want to start because I'm scared. I don't know. I don't know where to start. Because when I wanted to do organizing, I went to the library of all places and checked out every book on professional organizing. I knew how to do it, but I didn't know how to do it as a business. And the books didn't teach me how to do it as a business. They just affirmed that I did know how to organize, because everything in the book was so first nature.
But see, so that's something I think that this is just tips for everybody. And for me, for instance, I've known all my life, I've been, as far as long as I can remember, I've been interested in just like energy, quantum physics, and just, law of attraction, and just how the world is and how everything is connected. And so what you're saying there, it's whatever that skill is that you have, whether it's an acquired skill that you're so well at, or whether it's a gift that you have. Many people don't know where to go to make this, not necessarily to monetize it. Maybe they just want to do it just to give. But what you did there, like you said, came from experience, because a lot of people are like, oh, I just want to, I'm great at this, but I don't know what to do. And then you can't just do it. There was something inside you that you knew from experience, and like a business mindset that you're like, I'm going to learn everything as much as I can, going to the library, doing all that you can just to know how to do it the right way. And that's like that hustle inside of you that basically said, I'm going to do it the best that I can. So it was more like belief, right? On top of that, you knew, that has to be something inside you, like a strong want and like a belief in yourself that you're going to say, no matter what, this is what I'm going to do. I'm good at this and I'm going to do it. Would that be your suggestion to those that maybe are kind of really want to do something and want to do that the entrepreneur lifestyle, but they just don't know how to start? So your suggestion is what to them?
So my suggestion is, this is gonna be really in line with kids, right? I have a 16-year-old, and he's at that age in school where they're like, oh, you need to figure out what you want to be. Like, what do you want to be? What do you want to be? So you can pick your college classes. He has no idea what he wants to be.
No, they push
child
that, yeah.
at 16 knows what they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So my suggestion is, if you could find something that you are just really intrigued about, like you could just learn about it constantly. Like, could you just continue to read about it, learn about it, watch YouTube's videos about it? That could be a passion that you're not even aware of. A great example is during COVID is when we really took our cleaning companies very serious, because Chris, my husband, lost his job during COVID because he was in live sound.
That was a crazy time. Yeah.
And
the entertainment business really crashed during that time.
Yeah. And so he was trying all kinds of stuff. He couldn't get a job because he was so specialized. He loved audio, or he thought he loved audio. But when he really thought about it, he loved the project-based work of like setting up, tearing down, working with artists. And it wasn't necessarily the music, but the project-based work, troubleshooting. So for anyone who wants to start, it's one of those things. Sit down and think about, what are the components of day-to-day that you really like? What are you interested about? What do you spend time reading? Because if you don't have the passion right now, it doesn't mean that you won't ever have it. You can develop it. I've seen it develop in people over time when they get curious. Curiosity is like the best thing in the world to have. And I think as we get older, we lose it. And that's why you see children with great imaginations, is because they're full of curiosity. But as adults, we're told that and as you get older, oh, stop doing that. Stop daydreaming. That if you opened up to curiosity, you would probably find some things that you're very passionate about. And so just being curious, researching, and paying attention to what are you looking at? My son, he used to think he loved basketball. He played travel ball for years. We have a whole full-size basketball court in our backyard.
Yes. And he trains at 5 a.m. every day.
Well, he used to, and he just recently stopped. And he's like, hey, Mom, I don't want to go to college for basketball. And I said, that's fine. He goes, but I really like basketball. And I didn't tell him this, but I'm thinking, he's watching it all the time. He's tracking scores, the stats. he should probably get a job, something related to basketball,
Right.
not necessarily
In the
play
field.
in it.
Because
So
he does love it. It's just exactly. And they are people, we all are kind of just feeling ourselves out. And I 100% agree with what you're saying. So you can acquire, so basically it's just soaking up, learning from as much things and people as you can in that field, right? So for instance, like you were saying, for us midlife ages right now, you started, how many years ago did you start? And then how long did it take where you are with your business to boom from the organizing, cleaning business, but then also from there, just, I believe, again, belief in yourself and just inspiration saying, I can do more and I'm great at this.
So one last tip on the other topic was how do you get like, and this could be with how to get started, is that you also need to look at your surrounding. We said be curious, keep an eye out for that thing that you're passionate about, but also keep an eye on your environment, because if you're feeling tired or overwhelmed or unhappy, it could be like you could be becoming like a product of your environment. And so
100%.
just take a look at your relationships and how healthy are they, your marriage, how healthy is it?
100%.
Because you'll never see a successful person with a bad marriage. They're either not married or they have a great marriage.
Yes. Like they say, power couples is for a reason, because you both are in the same, alignment as far as wanting to see each other succeed, and you inspire each other. It's the energy there. That's I 100% agree with what you're saying. And energy is everything and everywhere and in everything. So completely what you're saying, environment, toxic people that are around you. I completely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. So just take a look at those things, at your surroundings, also your objects that surround you. I'm very big on clutter, and objects absorb energy. Yeah. And so if we have too much stuff in our house, in your kids' rooms, they can't function, they can't do their homework. If there's too much stuff in your home, it could be sucking the literal life out of you.
Yes.
So just take a look at your surroundings. And, from there, I started Organize It in 2014, and I only started doing organizing, and it was just me. And that was pretty slow because it was just me. Chris, my husband, was working full time. I didn't necessarily need the money. It was more of a hobby, because I was still trying to work and take care of our two older boys. In 2017, I was like, I want to add cleaning, and I said, I want to add cleaning because I want to make money without working, because I thought I was going to hire cleaners to do all the cleaning. And I was like, oh, this is going to be so easy. And it was so hard. So in 2017, I started to research. And so I hired all of the franchise-made companies, cleaning companies, to come clean my house. So I could watch them, like how did they move and what they do and how much did they charge.
And rewind there. I'm just trying to say, so let's say for midlife women, let's say, for instance, single mom here. Let's pretend that cleaning and organizing was my thing. How then you went ahead and did that? What is it, because of experience that you knew, oh, I'm going to go and hire this crew and that crew, and it was just
no,
no? Wow.
I knew nothing about cleaning. I've never had our house cleaned professionally. I'd never had a cleaner as a child. I'm half Mexican, so it was like we clean our own house on Saturday morning.
Right.
Nope. I just wanted a recurring. It was okay. I had read somewhere that recurring money is the best form of income. Recurring, right? It's happening like subscriptions, like Netflix. It's happening over and over and over. And so I just thought cleaning, it's got to be easy. But it's, it is easy once you get your process and your system, you get it set up. But so I added cleaning in 2017, and I cleaned for almost a year. But then I had my daughter. I cleaned until I was 9 months pregnant.
So you yourself, from I don't want to say the bottom, but basically learning
Oh no, it
from
was the bottom.
inside. Yeah. Carrying your own weight and others that you started hiring little by little by little. Yeah, getting your hands dirty. So that's how, do you suggest that is the best way, just to learn from inside out? Starting for anybody, right now who's looking to start their own business. Is that the best way to start?
Um, I think so, because it's going to teach you the ins and outs of the business. You're going to have a level of respect for, your entry level staff. You're going to understand the job. You're going to respect how hard the job is. And it's going to help you create better processes and systems.
Yeah,
It's going to help
true, true.
It's going to help you be able to hire more because you understand the role. We make all of our sales and anyone who works in our office, we make them go out and learn how to clean so that they know how to talk about it. They know how to sell it. They know how to price it. So I say yes. Now, however long you want to do it for is up to you. I wanted to commit to a year. That was like, I'm going to do this for 1 year so I can learn it. But I got pregnant in that, like I was actually probably already pregnant when I launched the cleaning company. And so I cleaned up until like the day before I went in to have my daughter.
Wow, look at that. And then how long? So after you had your daughter, was it something that you kept an eye on your business to keep it afloat, or at that time it was running on its own?
No, it wasn't running on its own. I literally only had a job at that time. So I hunkered down. I actually hired a mentor, like the power of hiring a coach and a mentor. I hired a mentor
100%.
because I was so scared to have to leave my newborn and go back to clean the houses.
Right,
I didn't want to do it.
Right.
I think I had 1 or 2 employees at that time when I went in the hospital to have my daughter. Hired that mentor, and 3 years from hiring her, we got the cleaning company to $1 million.
Okay, so it took you 3 years of just hustle and bustle, finding the right energy, the right people within your company that you could trust, that you knew that did well. And it was more in between that time, those 3 years, it was more just you doing the management side and just marketing. And I am huge at this. Your energy was constantly positive, saying that this is my company, it's doing well, and just constant positive thoughts about it, right? And just keep pushing it out there.
Yes. So like constant affirmation, right?
I love that. Yep. 100%. 100%.
And then we got the cleaning company to 2 million, and then we were hit with Hurricane Ian.
And then it's like, boom, intervention.
We lost 400 customers in one day. So that was really hard on us.
That's a challenge. And a lot of people might think, oh man, that's terrible. Oh, ow. But that's when you're running a business and that's your sole income, this is you're, a parent of 3 kids and we don't have anyone to just rely on. Like, this is a huge factor. How did you get through then? That had to be hard internally. Was it a lot of, how did you handle yourself, like internally, like to handle that had to have been hard to go through and worry and all of that going on.
The hardest part was, coaching our employees. I have a whole process, a whole playbook for hurricane preparedness. And the hardest part is really coaching the employees so that they don't lose their minds, because everybody's stressed out. Everyone's emotional. How do you keep paying them? Like, I freeze all my bank accounts so I can guarantee the money, like, so we can protect the money, so we can pay our staff. So we have a whole strategy to it. Learned it during COVID, learned it during hurricanes. But the hardest part is just, I'm not worried about me paying my bills, because I have the courage and the confidence to maybe call my mortgage company, and I know how to defer or furlough a payment. But my staff doesn't know how to do that. They don't know how, or they don't want to call the credit card company because they may be embarrassed to ask if they could skip a payment because there was no work because of the hurricane. So I wasn't worried so much about us as we were that making sure that our team was mentally like there and stable.
Yeah, there and exactly.
Yeah. And so then you become the coach, and you're constantly coaching. I made sure I showed my face to them virtually a couple times a day. I communicated a lot through video. And
That's awesome.
I had to be the constant in their life during an unknown time. Like they
For
needed
sure.
that
To
constant.
keep
Mm-hmm.
and without you doing that, and again, not everybody is that way. So this is a good note to take, for the business owners that are out there. For instance, I'm a single mom trying to do my thing. I have my 9 to 5. That is, that's right now my rock, paying my bills, etc. But I have my passion projects on the side that I'm doing. I'm working with energy and chakra healing, meditation, yoga, qigong, all this wellness, and I'm trying to do this on the side, but I do have over here my salary to keep me afloat. But for you, for instance, you had your team there, and this was like their sole um job, their everything that they have, and they don't know what to do. So if a business owner, and there's many that are not like you, that would show face and give a lot of care. So I just encourage everybody out there, if they do have their own business now, to keep that in mind. That's probably why also you're so successful, is that you put care in your staff, in your employees. You're not just going to have anybody, it has to be the right match, the right, energetics there. I guess, what's your tip for others out there that's going through maybe a tough time? Because look at the hurricane that hit. I believe that sometimes not sometimes, but anything that happens in one's life is like kind of an intervention or something that happens to stir things up, to rebalance things to where it should be. So if that hurricane didn't happen, you probably wouldn't be as successful now, because now at the worst case scenario, if something was to happen, you have your structures, your policies, your SOPs. Do you think that you are better because of that hard time that you went through?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think there is such thing as like a coincidence, or I think things happen for a reason. We were hit with that hurricane, and my mentor had called me when she heard like how many customers got hit, like we lost, how bad the area was. And she goes, let's brainstorm. Let's build you back up as fast as we can. And I told her, no, I'm going to actually slow down. We were growing so fast that the wheels were shaking on the bus. Like, it was a little chaotic. It was crazy. Yeah. Like, we were churning customers, churning employees. We were growing too fast, and growth is messy, but it also you can grow too fast. So we were growing too fast. So the hurricane kind of put us in our place.
To slow things down a little bit.
To kind of slow us down. And so we reestablished, and we decided to focus on our processes, our playbooks, organizing the office. It may be a cleaning company, but anyone out there that's in the home service sector knows that we're extremely tech heavy, software heavy. That's how I've launched 2 softwares. We're extremely tech heavy. I hired a guy right out of college to be my in-house videographer. And he's like, I cannot believe how much tech you guys use for a cleaning company. He goes, I thought it was just...
But you're basically dissecting. So there's a company, but so you're gaining skills and pretty much taking every part of how to run a business and just forming one from an... So that's a tip to everyone out there too. Once you get really good at what you're doing, there's so many more fields and paths that you can also take it, like what you're doing now. How many software companies have you then launched from just your baby or your cleaning and organizing business?
2.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just wrote a book, and it's called One Layer Deep, and it's a blueprint.
That's
it's organizational
awesome.
structure for businesses. And I probably wouldn't have written the book if we didn't get hit by the hurricane, because we slowed down. And there are times where I hear my friends and they're like, oh, I'm $3 million, I'm $4 million. And I'm like, oh, I should be there, because we were at 2 growing fast, and then we got literally reset. And there are moments of frustration, but then you think to yourself, oh, but like, we got great profit. We're so structured. It's boring at our office. And my book came out of it.
You
And
see,
none of those
absolutely.
things probably would have happened. And so as far as the other softwares, if you're in an industry and you see a gap, like don't make something to just make it because you like it. That doesn't mean anybody will buy it.
Okay.
You want to make something that really is filling a void. It's filling a need that is not currently met in the industry. So I first created Woot Recruit, which does recruiting. So we grew to $1 million in 2 years in that company. $1 million in 2 years from
Amazing.
the ground up. Now with the organizing company, I'd organized for like 3 years, and
Okay.
I had the logo and the infrastructure and like the website. But with Woot Recruit, it was like 0 to $1 million in 2 years. It was a crazy, crazy ride. Um,
Wow. And thank goodness you kind of felt a little bit of that ride with the other one. So you were prepared, but then still learning as you go as well.
yeah.
Mm.
And and then the other one is Sell Convert Clean. It's fairly new. And well, it's not new. We bought it, relaunched it, rebranded it, and changed it. But it's also specific to residential cleaning. But if you see a gap, if you see a need, if you're in that industry, fill it. But don't
Right.
just make something because you think it's cool or you like it. It's something. If you see an issue, and that's how you build $1 million business in 2 years, What Recruit was literally a very specific issue. We could staff cleaners, cleaning technicians. We're like the Uber of hiring. And the reason we're so good at it is because it's what I did to staff my business to get it to 2 million.
Amazing.
And when I asked some of my friends to use the model, they like my one friend, he went from 17 cleaners to 42 cleaners, like in a matter of
From
months.
using that model.
Yes.
Amazing.
So once we saw it was like a viable product and people were willing to pay for it and it worked well, then that's when we actually made it a scalable solution.
I love that. That's inspiring for myself and also for others out there, I'm sure. So you do. So I love how you said that, yes, you did have a mentor as well. Like, yes, it might be hard and hard on the pockets and everything, but don't you believe that it's the best investment? Like coaches need coaches. I'm a
Yep.
life coach. I've been trained. I have my own coach. I wouldn't say right now at this moment, there's the need financially. It's very tough. What is your advice for someone like me too? Again, I have my 2 kids, single mama. I'm holding the fort down. I've been doing it for 19 years on my own. So yes, I have a mentor, but I feel like also there's a step where I need something more. Probably, if I want to take my passion project to like the next level, and this is what I believe as well, is investing. People go and spend thousands of dollars on a purse or shoes or whatever. Spend that on yourself, So I'm always struggling. Yes, maybe, I can't go out and spend hundreds of dollars because my friend wants to go out. I decline because it's something deep inside of me that's saying I'd rather save that money, spend it for myself, do my trips, do my special trainings, with master healers or different programs or another mentor package. Do you believe like that's just the best route to go? And give the advice to someone maybe who, is struggling financially and say that they are so good at this one thing. What is your advice for someone that's sitting there kind of like in the crossroads and just like stuck? Their first step to just get out there and try to make their dreams come true.
So I am a huge fan of coaches or mentors. It's like the cheat code or it's the fast pass at Disney World.
I love that. Yes.
Why try to figure it out yourself if I could just pay a little bit more money and go faster?
100%. Bingo. See, but that's it. So it's in that. Take your money that you're spending on purses and shoes and trips and spend it on yourself.
It's the Robert Kiyosaki model. So if you've ever read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad,
I love him. Yep.
It's about the mentality of using your money to make money, not going and buying a $300 pair of Nikes. If you were my 16-year-old, he would want to go buy a $300 pair of Nikes. And,
I have
fine.
2 teens and I'm like, damn, your shoes cost more than mine.
Yeah. And So, and that's, some people are like that, and that's fine, but then you can't ask yourself, why can't I ever get ahead? Or why me, why me, like the me thing.
Already.
So I always have a handful of mentors. I spend probably more a year on mentors than most people make in an annual salary.
So do you now suggest, again, I'm trying to think of different scenarios, again, and someone like, this is a midlife reset is pretty much the topic of this show. So it's more like women, men, whomever in our 40s,
So
plus or minus.
I wish I would have
good,
invested
bad,
in
bad
myself sooner.
Yeah.
My tip to everyone is invest in yourself sooner.
As soon as possible.
And stop waiting. The first mentor I ever paid for was for my cleaning company. And I didn't have the money. I hadn't worked in 3 months because I didn't hire the mentor until Yaya was 3 months old. So I had already
is it like the good debt, bad debt? Would you suggest in the getting a loan if you had to?
I put mine on a credit card.
You see, take note, everyone. Take note.
I didn't have 100%. The money, but I knew that I had the hustle. I'm not formally educated. I didn't go to college. I'm some half Mexican, Native American girl whose dad he barely even finished middle school or elementary school, from a small town in Oklahoma. But what I do know is that I can hustle. I can outwork.
Yeah. Well, you proved it. Hell yeah.
So when I invested in myself, I put it on the credit card, and I knew I didn't have the money or the payment to pay it. But what I knew is that I could work it. It's like time to realized value. I knew that I could work fast enough to get it by the time the payment was ready or due.
And yeah.
And that's all I did was I would just have to do 1 or 2 jobs so that I could pay that credit card bill. And then I could take the rest of the time to actually learn and implement and put it into the business. So I am a huge fan. Like I said, it's a cheat code. Invest in it.
Completely
People have
agree.
the answer. They have figured it out. And also, I'm a very big fan of specializing. When Austin was training for basketball over the summer, he had a nutritionist, a speed coach, a agility coach, and a mental coach for his mental game, and then his regular basketball coach. The kid had 5 coaches, and he's 16 years old. At 16. And I told him every time he wanted a coach, I said, I'll pay for it, but you just have to promise me that you're going to do it.
To do the best, right, to be the best that you can be and give it your 100% in whatever it is. And so that's amazing, my gosh. And it's not a waste either, even though right now he or anyone out there that may feel like, I don't know if I'm really loving this, whatever. I say, take out a journal or whatever and just write down the very first top things that come into your head and just write them down. What's your passion? What's your passion? What's your passion? See what kind of skills you have out of that. But it's okay to kind of dabble into a little bit of everything. Try it all out and see what you really love or you really like. Because, for it to boom, you don't want to be miserable working so hard. Like at the end of the day, it's not gonna, if you don't like what you're doing, love what you're doing.
People change careers like 4 times in their lifetime.
And it's okay. But out of that, each milestone, you're going to accrue skills from each thing.
The coaches, the one reason I suggest a coach or a mentor as well is if you pay attention.
100%. Like accountability.
As great as AI is, we love AI, we love YouTube, like we love how-to videos. And you can go on AI and ask it for like some famous coach's entire course, and it'll probably give it to you. But it's always been out there. It's been in a blog form. It's been somewhere else. What technology and like AI won't give you when it comes to like coaches and mentors, because I just got back from a training on like how is AI going to affect the future of coaching. And the one thing that it won't give you, or 2 things, is accountability and connection, right? No technology can do that. But when you have a mentor, a coach, they're going to give you accountability and connection. Like you're going to have that connection, that relationship, that community. And it's really, really going to help you. And if you don't have a ton of money to invest in yourself right now, go ask somebody. there are tons of organizations. I think one is called Scale, where retired professionals volunteer to mentor people.
Nice. That's awesome. And I'll write that in the description in case anyone needs to go back to that, because that would be good for not everybody's at the level where they even maybe their credit cards are maxed out or whatever the case, but where there's a will, there's a way. Like if you truly believe deep inside of you that you want to do this thing, you're tired of being stuck. I was there. Like you just are like, why me? Like I know that I'm meant to do something more and higher. And maybe things aren't taking off as much as they should right now, but where there's a will, there's a way. There's resources out there. So that's something good. So no excuses. We can start square one, with places like this, which
also ask.
Yeah, true.
Just ask. People inherently are kind.
True.
I was on a panel with some really successful people, and I don't even know how I got on this panel. I told my husband, I said, I think they just needed a girl. Because there was a bunch of guys. And I was like, so I was on this panel and I met, he's a famous YouTuber in the home service industry. And we got off and I said, dude, I just love the way you share. I love your vibe. Like you're the coolest guy I ever met. He was an older gentleman who had just sold his plumbing company. And I got home from that conference and I told my husband, I said, I want to call him. He gave me a cell phone number.
There was something about his vibe. You were like,
and I said, I want to call him. I want to see if he'll coach me or mentor me. I'm trying to work on my YouTube channel. And I called him to ask him, and I was ready to pay him. Nicest guy in the world. Didn't take a dime from me.
Oh my God, bless him. I love people like that.
Like we connected. He brought me on his podcast. And he's like YouTube famous.
That's awesome.
So I was,
and that was just from you taking the courage to just say, "Hey, what's going on? I'm Libby," and
But it was also the courage of asking, saying, "Hey, I really connect with your vibe. I really want to work with you. I think like you're great." If you were to look at my Facebook Messenger, I have tons and tons of messages from people reaching out. I just made a post yesterday about how I lost, I don't know, it was like 65 or 70 pounds.
Yes, I saw pictures. Amazing, by the way. That's another podcast I got to bring you back for to talk about the transition, the diet. We'll talk about that later.
I ask people if you're interested in hearing how I did it or you want help, just message me.
Just
and
ask.
People are like, and I have a little playbook on like my husband made it for me, like the food I eat, what I do, that I could share it with them, because why not share it?
True. It's what's the worst that can happen? Somebody's gonna say no. Are they really, or maybe give you minimal information? Who cares? So it's just speaking up and asking.
Just ask. It will never 100%. Hurt to ask for a mentor at all, because most people who have learned the lesson of failure and mistakes and they know how it feels, they've been there, and they're more than happy to share that journey with you.
Yes. It's just a matter of believing in yourself and just asking and look at where you are now, which is amazing. For anyone else that is just now listening to this and sitting there, like we said, the best thing for them to do is just to get out their journal, whichever, and just write down their ideas. But what do you think the very next step, if financially they cannot do it, like we said, there's free resources out there. There's YouTube. A lot of things are online. Join Facebook groups, join Facebook pages. You, like many other coaches and speakers, you put free information out there and tips and tricks. And what is your advice for these last few moments? Like words of wisdom. What would be your last thing to leave with anyone that's just, been stuck in their head and just saying like, I really want this. I want to be successful. Why them? But before that, one thing I want to mention is, do you believe that it's better to just be in quiet and not really share too much with others out there? Because for me, I believe in sometimes like the evil eye. You say things too soon, maybe you'll have jealousy or other things out there that just kind of like takes the energy away. And sometimes these things don't happen. Do you think it's best to work in silence, get your mentor, work in silence, and just stay as focused as possible? Do you think that's the best step to do?
As far as sharing, I think it at first, yes, because you don't want to hear anyone's input, because it can be negative or positive. Like when my family heard I was opening a cleaning company, they were kind of like, why? And so now my mom works in the cleaning company. So does my older son. My sister did. Like,
but did that doubt in the beginning kind of like hurt you a little bit, or like did you second guess yourself or question yourself, like, oh, should I really be doing this?
No, not necessarily, but it can hurt. It can, if you're not super confident in that decision, you know, it could influence, you know, your thought process about it, or your decision about, you know, following through. And here's the other thing, like if you're going to hire a mentor, like you said, hire that mentor and work, like, and don't tell nobody. When people find out, like when I first joined when I first hired my first coach, when people found out that didn't understand anything or the context behind it, they were like, oh my God, I would never pay that. You're stupid. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll just figure it out myself. And I'm like, well, it could take you 20 years to figure it out, but I figured it out in a year.
And that's the shortcut, like you said. I love that.
So sometimes it is good to keep it kind of on the down low for a little bit until you've gained that confidence and that knowledge. Like you know, you want to do this. You're knowledgeable. You're confident in your knowledge and your delivery of that.
Yes, because that has happened to me so many times. Speaking too much too soon, and I'm just like, okay, am I sabotaging myself? But it's because
you care too much about what other people think.
Yes. And I did not back then have that much confidence within me. You know, it takes work. We're all still on a journey, on a healing journey. All of us, we still have more to learn, but everybody's on a different level. And 100%, unless you're, for people that are a little bit maybe not so confident or worried too much about what others think, you're going to sabotage yourself. And so it's best to just keep quiet and get that coach, you know, get that mentor 100%.
Yeah. So my last tips to answer your question, kind of like, where do you get started if you don't have the money, but you know, you want to do it? What, you know, you're journaling and like, now what? And so the first thing I would say is, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So I would do an audit of who are those, and you are the average of that. And if you
so fire right there, that's everybody needs to take note of that for sure.
And when you do that, you're kind of like, oh, you kind of scare yourself for a minute. And so if you want to be successful, you want to be focused, you have to surround yourself around successful and focused people. And you have to put yourself in a room where you're the smallest person. You're the smallest person.
I've heard of that before. Yep.
And that's an ego hurt. It's an ego hurt because you're the smallest person.
Yep.
But I have done that every time. Like I beg for people to let me in the room. Like maybe if I haven't met the revenue yet. And then they typically let me in because I'm growing so fast. They know that I'll get there eventually.
And it's a matter of you just asking. What's the worst they can say is no, but you're just like, well, let me just ask. And what happened? You got in.
Yeah. So, you know, make sure you're doing an audit of your surroundings and who you're around. What are you spending the most? Then my next thing would be,
that's huge.
What are you spending the majority of your time online? Who are you following? A lot of Facebook groups. When I first started cleaning, I got into some of the cleaning groups and they are horrible. They are so toxic and they are so mean. And I told my husband, I said, oh my God, I have to leave these groups. Like I can't handle this.
And you know that you're not going to be like that. Yeah.
I'm like, you can't even ask a question without being called stupid. And so I'm like, I can't handle this. This is not my tribe. And it might influence your decision on, oh my gosh, maybe cleaning was the wrong route. But then you have to find your tribe. You'll find them eventually.
Yes.
And so just be careful.
In tuned with what you feel, correct? Like that.
Yes.
Those feelings when you become very in tune with your body and yourself, when you don't feel good about something, and when you, like what she was experiencing, Libby, that was kind of like a push. Like that's the nudge saying like, this is not for me. Like some people will just be like, oh, but they're so successful and it doesn't matter how successful the person is or how many trophies they have. But like you said, like that, you need to find your tribe, and that's leading to where you are right now today.
Yeah. And my last tip, and this is, again, if you don't have the funds to invest in that mentor, right, is to maybe get an accountability group or an accountability buddy. When I was racing to $1 million in the cleaning company, I was racing with two friends. And in our industry, they have this green jacket. So if you get to $1 million, they give you a green jacket, like the Masters golf
That's
thing.
cute. Yeah.
And we all three wanted it. So we were holding each other accountable to get to it. And so, audit your surroundings.
This journey.
Yeah. Audit your surroundings, the people you're around, look at social media, make sure you're following positive people that are where you want to be. Like, don't be following nobody that hasn't achieved anything that that you want to achieve. So make sure that they've already done what you want and they've surpassed you because you're chasing them. It's a chase. I'm chasing them.
100%.
And then it's the accountability group. Get one or two people to just help hold each other accountable, to push each other, but they have to have the right to call you out when you
and you'll have to be able to take that.
Yeah, because like my husband is my accountability buddy, and he has the right to call me out if I'm not living within my inner scorecard and my inner values.
Nice. Yep. That's good. That's trust right there. And that's taking it. And being able to be called out 100%. And that will make it fun. So then for sure, write down the people that you are majority of your time that you are hanging out with, your top 5. Focus and write down, pay attention to all the external noise that's coming in to you. So 100% to take note of all those few things. And then what is your last tip then? Once they write that down, let's say that, figure out where your time is being spent between your people that you're around. How are you feeling? Time being spent. What else do you think should be their next?
It was the social media and the accountability buddies.
I love that. 100%. Oh, that's so good. So for everyone out there that is just didn't know where to go, they know that they have this deep down inside. I suggest that you just, take what Libby has here shared with you, successful herself, right? 4 times, 4 businesses successful, 7 figures within a few years only, just from doing everything that she just said right here. It can happen, so if this has inspired you in any way, like she did, you can do it.
It can. And at first, my husband didn't have anything to do with it because
right.
Everybody's like, your husband helped you with the software. I'm like, no, he was on the road.
Right.
He was never home. But now he does. Now he's heavily involved.
Right.
But no.
Because he loves the kind of stuff too, the tech, analytical and tech stuff. Yeah.
But just because, women entrepreneurs, we have a special gift. We have the gift of like the creativity, but also the ability to have empathy, where a lot of male entrepreneurs, they don't have that, especially male CEOs. Corporations spend hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to teach men empathy so they can manage and lead people better.
Right.
We have that inherently in us, so we can beat all those guys.
That's cool. I love it. But no, that is such like a gem right there. So, but this is also like inspiring for people that are out there. Like, it's okay, if you're not where you are, me and my age right now, there's people out there that are like, oh, it's too late. No, it's not. There's people, successful multimillionaires, billionaires that started with their
Kentucky Fried Colonel Sanders, that owned Kentucky Fried Chicken, did not start Kentucky Fried Chicken until he was 82 years old,
and he was still loving life. Like, he was doing his thing. Yes, 100%. I agree.
And I always say, like, you cannot compare your chapter to someone else's story.
No,
like, you don't know my story, so like you can't compare your chapter of your life to my story. Because you don't know the story and all the things that I had to do, or the late nights. So that's self-sabotaging when you compare, but they did it, or they're only 20 and I'm 40. You don't know their story. So don't compare that chapter of their life.
Right. 100%. And it's all from what we learned, the confidence, believing in yourself. And right now, I just hope for anyone listening, even if it's just one person, like you can do this. It's just a matter of taking the power back from wherever it's being spent out there. Maybe, like you said, look at who you're spending the majority of your time with, but decide right now, today, like, yes, this is what I'm going to do. I don't care your age. You're in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. It doesn't matter. Decide tonight, get yourself a little tea, whichever the case, whatever your thing is, and just write the things down that are calling to you. Maybe it's just one thing that you've been trying to do, but, and just give all of your love to it. And again, if you have a full-time job, totally fine. That's me now. But just on your spare time, just put your love and your, work and your thoughts into that, and it's going to grow little by little. And if you're doing it out of love, more of just like providing service instead of thinking so much about monetizing it, it's going to happen. If it's meant for you, it's going to happen. So it's a matter of just deciding like, no, like take all of that doubt away. And just, if it's, you don't want to be, I'm sorry to sound so morbid, but on the deathbed, just regretting that you never tried this. This is one life right now in this world. And it's a matter of just having the courage right now to just say that you're going to do it. And start baby steps, small wins, right? Every small win counts, baby steps.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love this. This was so good. This is very inspiring. Libby, thank you so much. And where's the best place that people can find you? And I'll also put it below in the description.
So I am the only Libby DeLucien in the world.
Yes.
So it's very easy to find me. If you just Google my name, or libbyd.com, is also where you can find links to all my companies, everything we're doing, writing a book. I'm writing a children's book.
I love
me and my
that.
husband I have a Fearless podcast. I have a podcast with my husband about life and marriage and coffee.
All the fun stuff. Fun, yes.
Inappropriate things.
Raw situations, yes.
So yes, you can just look me up on my name. I'm very, very easy to find.
I love that. Yep. And that's for all of you out there. Business successful owner over here. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Oh, I love this so much. See, this is inspiring for me and for others out there. Libby, thank you so much.
Thank you.